and Jai Shri Krishna to everyone. Today's webinar focus on role of CA in the industry, the skill sets required and to be developed for getting hired and for growth in the industry. As everyone knows, the qualification of CA is globally recognized and industry outlook of CA is bright indeed. CA have been one of the most sought after professionals in India. The rigorous training have made them practically jack of all trades as far as the domain of finance is concerned. A CA work area has become so wide and involves so many activities that sometimes a CA is perceived almost as an enigma. There is a lot of career opportunities for CA. Apart from basic auditing, accounting, taxation function, there is a fulfilling career in finance, which requires enough exposure to intricacies of finance. Then there is an investment consultant, fund manager who can play the role of top decision maker. Further, CA also works in project management, consultancy services, etc. Two famous quotes for CA by well-known personalities emphasizes how CA can play the role in the economy and finance-related concerns in a nation. Our ex-president APJ Abdul Kalam, CA are partners in the nation building. Number two, prominent industrialist Ratan Tata. I need an MBA for running my business, but CA to teach them how to run the business. At present, due to economic slowdown, there is a direct bearing on the demand of CA. This makes the today's session on role and work of CA in the industry more relevant. Our speakers are rank holder CA and working in different prominent industries. Apart from taking specific questions by attendees, which you can put on chat box, the speaker will touch the following points. What are the various conventional and unconventional roles a CA can find in the industry? What are the critical factors that go in decision making of this path and host of profiles available within? What are the ways one can find opportunities in the industries? Is better work-life balance with eased hours a reality? How do increments, growth look like in industry roles? Vinay Mantriji will be moderating the session and will take maximum questions by the attendees. And we are hopeful the session to be quite helpful and knowledgeable for CAs, both pursuing qualified CA working in industry. I request all of you to keep your speakers mute except moderator and speaker. Over to you, Mantriji.
Thank you so much, Nileji. I'm just ensuring that participants will stay muted. All right. Thank you for such a warm welcome, Nileji. We would now begin by introducing our speakers one by one. Today we have three guests with us, pretty close. We've got Saurabh Jhamar, Kishori Bharadia, and Palash Maheshwari. You all might have read their bio. Nonetheless, I'd like to introduce Kishori Bharadia. She's a finance analyst for the orthopedics business of Johnson & Johnson Medical Devices. Kishori began her career at Reliance Industries Limited as a part of CA cadre building program after securing an AIR 18 in CA final and All India rank 40 in her IPCC exams. I would now like to request Kishori Bharadia to step up and speak more about her journey. Over to you, Kishori.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I am Kishori Bharadia, and as Vinay Bhaiya introduced me, I started my journey with Reliance Industries Limited as part of the CA cadre building program. Later, I moved to Johnson & Johnson as part of the Finance Leadership Development Program, which was a 6 weeks training in the US rolled over for 2 years. In my 4.5 years with J&J, which I'm currently also working with, I have done 4 different kinds of roles. First being handling the accounts payable cycle, which is outsourced, along with the intercompany cycle. Second, the thing that I did was monitoring the general ledger and the accounting, along with review and analysis of the P&L and balance sheet, along with the cash flow statements. Then I moved to another role, which was business partnering for a R&D center that we have in Mulund in Mumbai. So handling their budgets and managing the entire capex for the R&D center was my responsibility. Along with that, I also did the SOX compliances for pharmaceuticals. as late as just 6 months before, I joined the medical devices industry division of the Johnson & Johnson, where I am currently the business partner for orthopedics business, leading the forecasting cycles, tracking of expenses, making of business models, and pricing is primarily my responsibility. So that's my short, sweet journey.
Thank you so much for that, Kishori. Next, I'd like to speak about Saurabh Jhawar, a chartered accountant with 5 years of work experience in various roles around financial reporting, treasury, and internal controls in MNCs and listed companies in India. Saurabh is currently the assistant manager at Kimberly Clark. Saurabh secured the All India rank 43 in CA final exams after completing articleship from Big Four and getting the 20th All India rank in his IPCC exams. I would now request Saurabh to share his journey with us. Saurabh, over to you.
Yes, sure. So first of all, I want to thank Vijendra Malu uncle and Atul Lahoti uncle for an entire MBPM family for giving me this opportunity to be part of this webinar. And thank you, Vinay Bhaiya, for the introduction. So my journey of 8 years in short is like it started in 2012 when I joined a Big Four articleship firm for my CA internship. There I got opportunity to work for listed companies and large MNCs, and my work was primarily around the statutory audits, tax audit, and certification. During my articleship only, I was inclined towards working for industry because I think that working for industry gives you exposure because it is more close to the dynamics of the business. So that's why I decided to move to industry. I joined a large MNC company, which is also listed in India. And my first profile was financial reporting, where I looked after US GAAP closing and IGAAP closing for the entity and was responsible for closing limited reviews and a statutory audit. Then I joined a fast growing FMCG company and currently I am working here. I look after treasury and internal controls. In treasury, my primary responsibility is to ensure internal and external funding for our capex plan, ensuring proper working capital credit limits for our working capital requirement, monitoring our working capital, forecasting cash flow, and compliances related to treasury. In internal controls, I look after various processes, whether the controls are designed properly in process, and check the effectiveness of the controls and maintain risk control metrics for the company. So that's what my journey in short. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. I would now like to talk about our third guest for this evening. We have Palash Maheshwari being a rank holder at all the levels of CA and CS. CA Final All India Rank 20, IPCC All India Rank 12, CPT All India Rank 2, CS Professional All India Rank 4, CS Executive All India Rank 5. Palash has prior work experience with KPMG and BPCL, where he supported across various roles of finance for international trade. Currently, he is working as an investment banker with 7i Capital. Can I now request Palash to share his journey with us?
Yeah, I would like to begin by thanking the whole MVPM team for organizing this webinar and making me a part of it. So I began my professional career by starting my articleship with KPMG, where I was closely associated with transforming into new tax regime, that is GST. Then after qualifying my CA qualification, I started working with one of the Fortune 500 company, that is BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. And in it, I was involved in handling finance for importing crude oil and LPG. Post BPCL, I joined a boutique investment banking firm. So in investment banking, we are particularly involved in two roles. The first one is fundraising, that is equity fundraising for the companies, those who require funds for their growths and all. And second, we are involved in the mergers and acquisitions of the companies, where smaller companies get acquired by the large MNCs and corporates. So that was my role in short.
Thank you so much for your time, Palash. Um, I would now like to ask Kishori about what are the various roles that you may find in industry. Kishori, over to you. I would ask the speakers to stay unmuted when they, yeah,
Sure.
throughout the session.
Sorry. Vinay, could you just repeat the question?
Yeah, so what are the different roles that you would find in the industry?
So typically, industry roles would be divided into two main areas. One would be your core accounting,
Mhm.
wherein you could see roles like handling of the entire accounting process. Maybe you're monitoring because most of the MNCs generally outsource the roles for accounting, and you would monitor the processors. That's one. Another one would be, handling the overall P&L and balance sheet and getting it reviewed and reporting of those numbers for maybe it can be a statutory reporting purpose or it could be for reporting your financials to your global conglomerate wherever, like maybe in the US or maybe in the UK. Another role would be business partnering, wherein you are handling the business finance, you are making business models for pricing, leading the forecasting cycle, which is also called FP&A, where you make the budgets and track against those budgets. There would also be certain roles which generally wouldn't be for freshers, which would be like in taxation or indirect taxation. They would have certain roles, and as well as in treasury. But those would be a little niche roles and would generally be for people who have a little prior work experience.
Thank you. Saurabh, would you like to add to it about your experience?
Yeah, sure. So as Kishori mentioned, that there are sub verticals within finance like taxation, treasury, controllership, which is more related to financial reporting and internal controls, and business finance. Business finance is more like they work closely with business to come up with a strategy on pricing, how they can increase the revenue, how they can work with the business to manage their revenue, drive the mix, the product which are with higher margin, how they can do. So these are the roles which are there. In treasury, the role is mostly around managing funds and ensuring that proper liquidity is there for the company is there. And for in taxation part, ensuring indirect taxes compliances, direct taxes compliances is there. And for financial reporting, statutory audits, ensuring the numbers are getting reported with accuracy. So these all things are to be ensured while in the profile.
Okay, thank you so much. Palash, could you help us understand how could one really choose a role in industry?
Okay. So for choosing a role in the industry, see, there are various roles available in the industry, whether you go into any banking industry, finance industry, you join any manufacturing company or not. So there are different roles which are available in the industry as said by earlier speakers. But what is more important is while you are choosing your role, so instead of looking at what is the package and all you are getting, what you should do is you should try to figure out that what is the purpose that you are looking for. Okay, where do you see yourself after 5 or 10 years, that you, okay, I would like to be an expert in this field, or I would like to enter and work into this field. So I think for that you need to build up your skill sets to reach that level. So you should select those roles where you will get that kind of exposure which will help you in reaching to that level. So this is a very important point. And second is you should always be ready to learn. You should always look for the challenging roles. You should always come out of your comfort zone, that okay, once you become CEO, you think that all is fine now, I know everything. So you should come out of that mindset and choose that role which will help you in grooming yourself and make you more better or more preferable for the next level of role.
Thank you so much. Saurabh, would you like to add more about, what are the different kind of roles that you've been through and what has helped you choose them or switch between them?
Sure. So I would like to cover my current profile first on internal controls. So it is very important in a large organization to have proper controls within place. So what are the controls? For example, a company giving a purchase order to a vendor, and then vendor giving the service, and we are making payment to that vendor. So there are multiple steps involved in the process, and that steps are done by a proper independent party, so that there is no chances of fraud within the organization, is that we have to ensure. So this can be very simple, but to implement practically it becomes sometimes very difficult. And to ensure that these things are getting practically implemented, the previous experience of our audit comes into picture, that where we have find any reconciliation issue within a vendor, and then we came to identify that there was a fraud in that. So such things, in our previous experience, we can use that in our existing profile and improve the processes. And second thing is benchmarking. So for example, what currently we are doing and what best companies in the industry are doing. So if we can benchmark our processes to that, then it can improve the overall process and help in building the efficiency within the organization. Second thing, so this is related to internal control. On treasury part, we have to be very dynamic. There are new products coming in the market. So checking those products, ensuring whether this can be practically applied here, whether we can avail those benefits or not on real-time basis, talking to multiple banks, multiple vendors. So this all things is what is required in my existing profiles.
Thank you so much, Saurabh.
Yeah,
You've spoken majorly about two things. One is about the value that you are creating through the processes. And the second thing that you spoke about was probably around the role, right? And how you keep on updating yourself with the current trend, keep talking to people, know what's going on in the market. Around these two things, I would like to touch upon with Kishori about the first thing, about how you create value, and she's been doing really fantastic at Johnson & Johnson currently. And about the second part on being updated, I will move on to Palash. Over to you, Kishori.
So in terms of creating value, whenever you get into any kind of role, first thing that you need to look at is how can you learn. So first thing is to assimilate whatever the current process is. Try to understand the process in depth, so that once you've understand, you can then add value to it. First portion of your profile, whenever you are entering, you assimilate value, and then you try to create value for the entire process. So in my journey as well, I initially did execution roles. Say for example, be it accounting, be it process handling. So the current role that I'm in is strategy. Since I know the processes, I'm able to drive those strategies. And that's where you add value to the organization. Because you know the process in depth, you know what could be the loopholes, you know, because you've done it throughout. That's how you create value.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Palash, being an investment banker, would you like to help us understand how do you keep abreast with strategic deals, knowing whom to approach, and how do you do it?
Okay, so yeah, let me explain you then in brief that what as an investment banker you need to do in the industry. Firstly, see, the companies have those who start work and those who cross their startup phase. So after that, they look for some growth capital for their companies. Okay, with the help of that capital, they can grow and grow their business and reach to the next level. So for that, we need to be aware that if some company is looking for fundraising, then we need to be aware that which investor or which company, which big corporate would be looking to invest in that kind of business. Okay, so for that we always need to be aware about the market scenarios, what is going in the market, what are the strategies of the big players, what are the strategies of the fund investors and all, PE funds and all. So this is our main role, which always keeps us abreast of the situation in the market. okay, now how do we create value for our clients? Okay, so see, when you are operating at normal level, when you are only growing your business through your internal earnings and all, you might not be able to compete with the large players. Okay, so for competing with those large players, you need to have funds so that you can spend, you can invest in the marketing in XYZ, whatever your plan may be. Whether currently you are trading in some product, you want to go for its manufacturing, you want to upgrade your technology. So for all these things you need funds, but for funds also you need to have a good partner with yourself. Suppose you take funds from any company who does not coincide with your thought process, with your value system, with your strategies and all. So at that point of time, our role is very important that we tie up any company with another investor only if they both can create synergies amongst themselves. If both of them will lead the company to different directions, then that will not be a good thing for any of them. So that is how we create value for our companies and clients.
Right. Thank you so much. Kishori, moving to you, I'd just like to understand what are the factors that you consider before choosing a job profile?
Choosing a job profile, it's very, very relative and subjective to a person. But I can give you my perspective when I try to look for a role. First thing that I try to see is the culture of the company that you're going to be working. It's very, very important because the value system that are present in a company should match with those that you totally follow. So your value systems and the company's value system should go together for you to proceed in a smoother manner. How are the people? Is the company caring? Those are few softer aspects which probably I would look at before joining a company. Second thing would be how does it add to your long-term career aspiration? Does the role that you are currently taking up, would it add to a career aspiration? Like I want to be a CFO. So I need to have a role in FP&A. I need to do some kind of accounting role. I need to do some kind of strategy role. So if I've done a couple of roles, I need to look for roles which will add to my aspiration of becoming a CFO. That's very, very important. The third thing being job satisfaction. So what does a company do? To me, that really matters. Like I'm working for a healthcare company. I feel satisfaction towards the end of the day that, okay, I'm helping a patient get medicated. I'm helping doctors and nurses do their jobs well. So that is something very, very personal, but that's also a factor that does play a role. And versus pay versus exposure that we've already covered, that I've always been advised, and I also personally feel that in pay versus exposure, first thing would be exposure that you would look at.
Okay, thank you so much. Would anyone like to add to what she's already said?
I guess Kishori covered everything. Only one thing, जो Three Idiots का एक dialogue याद आता है कि success के पीछे मत भागो, knowledge के पीछे भागो, success तुम्हारे पीछे आएगी. So just follow that, get good exposure. You will get pay eventually in your career. So that's what yeah.
Thanks, Saurabh. Success तो आ जाएगी, लेकिन job कैसे आएगी? ये बता पाओगे?
बिल्कुल बता पाएंगे. So yes, so there are few things which you can follow to get a good job. First thing which comes is networking. So last two jobs which I got is from my friend who was already working in the company. I came to know about that there is a opening in that company. I reached out to that friend. He said, send me your resume. I sent them. Got the interview calls. I prepared for the interview, gave interview and got selected. So networking and preparedness for the interview is one thing which you can focus. Second thing you can get to know about openings is through consultants. So there are very good consultants in the market like Michael Page, Fast Careers, which can help you to get a good jobs at the start of your career. Third thing is you can apply online through there are good website portals available like IIM jobs and also company website. So company also posts their opening on their website. You can apply on that website. You may get a call through that also. So yes, these are the options. And also for CA fresher, campus placement is one opportunity where they can really get a very good offer. They should prepare. They should keep preparing for the interview before campus placement so that they can give their best in the placements.
Wonderful. Thank you. So moving on to Palash, I just like to ask you, Palash, you're working with a boutique investment banking firm. What is the kind of exposure that you're getting there versus working for, say, JP Morgan or any leading investment banking?
Okay, yeah, so that's a very interesting question. So let me explain you what we do in a boutique firm, and then I'll compare it with the big knowledge investment banking firm. So in a boutique investment firm, what we do is generally, firstly, whenever we get a client for fundraising or for investments, so firstly we need to understand what business they do. Okay, so because there are thousands and innumerable kinds of business models which are there in every marketplace. So firstly, what is important is we need to understand how they do business, what are their financials, what are their models, whether it is marketing models, whether there is any purchase model, or how do they so completely every information we need to understand about the business. Now second thing what we need to do is then we approach then what we do is firstly we get that information and then we collate that information, in the sense we make PPTs on that, we do analysis on our part that what could be the questions of the investors, so we should have all that information about them, how do we present that information in a better manner. Okay, so that is very important, that okay, you have something, but if you could not present it before the investor, then it will not be of any use. So we do all that back end work, and then we start approaching the investors that okay, this is the company that wants funds, so are you interested to provide funds to this company or not. So that is a third process. So in this case we have a full complete we get complete knowledge of the whole process, from getting the clients to the fundraising, then after all the processes of valuations, due diligence, then final fundraising and all. So we get a complete exposure of this. Whereas if we go to big firms like JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, so these are big firms, their clients are big. So what you will find there is either you are in the back end role, or you are in the front end role, or in the mid role. So you don't get complete exposure about the whole process any of the times. Okay, you become an expert of your play where you are dealing with it, but definitely, so in a boutique investment banking firm, if you're working, so you get that kind of complete exposure. And second thing, in this you might get exposure of different sectors also. So it is possible that you're working in healthcare sector also, in IT sector also, in analytics sector also. But if you are in a big investment banking firm, so you will be a sector specific person. Definitely it helps a lot when you are, because there you are dealing large big clients, much higher amount of fundraising and all. So in initial years, definitely a boutique investment firm is a better choice, because it will give you a complete understanding of the process.
Thank you so much. Saurabh, could you help us understand what are the factors that are related to promotion? Say you got a job, you've entered it, you're working well, but then how do you really move ahead in the trajectory of industry?
Sure. So promotion comes when you perform better in the company and the company trusts that yes, this person can handle more responsibility. So first thing to show that visibility is that taking more responsibility, as and when you get better understanding and you have confidence, then take more responsibility. Ask your manager to give more tasks to you, and then develop trust with your manager and senior manager that yes, you are capable of taking that task and completing it. So that is first thing. Take more task, complete it within timelines, do it properly, add some value to that, and show it to the management that yes, you have done that task and it is adding value, and this is what your value proposition is. So once you have the understanding and everything, then the promotion will come, because as the company will grow, as the company will get benefit, company will give the promotion to you. Now coming to various roles, so it can be like there are multiple roles which are horizontal and there are roles which are vertical. So what kind of exposure you should take at the initial part of your career, and then moving ahead. So you can plan your career at the start only. Okay, I am currently handling a profile. In 2 years I will get promoted and I will manage that profile, or in 2 years I will get a role change and I will get new learnings from new profile. So initially, my suggestion will be to take a role change horizontally, get a idea about what all things are available in the market, what all work are available for you, and then decide which is best for you, and then grow vertically on it. So that's how you can plan your promotions and your task.
Thanks, Saurabh. Speaking about changing roles either within the same company or switching roles, I think that reminds me of the fantastic progress that Kishori has been making through 3 roles that she's switched and moved internally in Johnson and Johnson. Kishori, would you like to help us understand the whys behind your decisions?
Uh, so there are a couple of factors involved. As the first one being, what is your aspiration? Like I mentioned in my previous thing also, that you need to be a CFO. So what are the kind of roles that you need to do before you kind of get that role? So you have to plan your career like that, that you need to be vocal about what you want to do next. You need to keep your managers and your managers informed that, this is something that I'm interested in. So there will be opportunities in the organization that keep coming, because if you're working for a large organization, there are opportunities here and there. You need to keep your eyes and ears open. If you hear of something that drives your interest, just be vocal about it. Tell your managers that this is something that I really, really want to do because I want to become a CFO one day. So people do listen to you if you are diligent enough and you are sincere enough and dedicated to your roles. They would listen to you. But for that, you will need to take that initiative to tell them that, this is something that I need to do. So identifying first what you want to do, and second, being vocal about it. And of course, there are times when organization have different plans for you, better plans for you. So sometimes you should also leave it to your managers to sometimes take hold of that and let them do what they feel would be best for you to achieve your goals that you've already.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. That takes me to Palash. And Palash, could you help us understand what are the basic values or principles, or the work fundas that you use to ensure that your visibility stays in place and you can also confidently deliver it?
Okay, so what I personally do, I'll share that. So I believe that it is very important. There are 2 things if you want yourself to be visible in the company. The first is you should always have that confidence that yes, you can put up your views very confidently. Okay, so you should have your views, you should put your views before your managers, amongst your teammates. You should always be involved in that kind of discussions. So you should be ready for that always, and you should be confident enough that whatever you are saying, you have given a proper thought to that, and then you are saying that. So that is one most important thing. And second thing, you should always be observing and listening to others. That is very, very important. Once you will listen to others, once you will observe that, okay, this is the thought process of my manager, or this is the thought process of the company where the company would like to lead. And then when you coincide your thought process with the company's thought process, then it will become a more value addition point for the company. And then that will give you an edge over the others. For this, you should be ready. Even if you miss 100 chances where you can speak, but you should always speak when you completely think that yes, you can create a value by what you are speaking, and others who are senior to you will also listen you carefully and will give a thought to what you are saying. So I think that is very important, to listen to others and to always observe others and what they are saying.
Wonderful. So it's like yesterday we were just chatting casual about today's webinar, and something that really came up and astounding that we understood was that investment banking is a very high pressure job, right? So Palash, could you help us understand why you need to be on your toes all the time, why you need to sense the deals that are going in the market, and also stay abreast with the kind of conversations that you do related to any deal or pitch that you finalize?
Okay, so see, what happens in investment banking is, suppose today a new company would like to raise funds. Okay, so you need to have 5 to 10 companies who you are working on 5 to 10 projects, because you never know whether you will be able to get funds for this company or not, because it depends on investors that whether they would like to enter this business or not and all. So you should be very careful about that. Second thing, now when you are dealing with 5 companies, so you will have to approach at least 50 investors, because then only you will come to know that what is their thought process about investing and all. You need to approach different kind of players in the same market who would like to acquire that company or not. So if you do a simple mathematics also, that if you are working on 5 companies and you are approaching 50 investors for that, so you are already working on 250, you are handling 250 conversations, I would say. Somebody would require one data, someone would require other point, having meetings with them, clarifying them about the business. You yourself are understanding the business, and so all these things require a very tough tough timelines and all. You need to keep that momentum going on in the deals, because suppose today one investor is showing interest in a company, but suppose tomorrow he finds another company which is more interesting than yours, so he would skip that plan. So you cannot afford that. So for that you need to be always be on your toes all the time. I would say that what we in investment banking generally say, that if be a top investment banker, so you need to give 100 hours a week to your work. So if you don't try to divide 100 by 7, it will come out to 14-15 hours. So that means to say that you need to work that much if you want to be a top-notch investment banker in the industry.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Right. Can we move on to Kishori to understand? Kishori, can you just brief us about the kind of work that you're doing as business partnering orthopedics? How are you driving sales, and what's the agenda that you're following these days?
So it's a very interesting question. When you are a business partner, you get sense now of the business because you are most connected to the people who drive business, which is sales. So you are in constant touch with your sales guys. You get to know what's going on in the market. Say, for example, we talk of COVID scenario. So these are the markets. So for us, it's the elective surgery. Hips and knees are elective surgeries. So whether elective surgeries have started picking up, whether people in the market still fear that you should go ahead or not go ahead and get that surgery done. So these are the factors that you get to know when you work with the businesses. What are the kind of discounts that they are asking? Whether it's in parity with other market players. So most important thing is to understand how your business is working. What are the key factors that drive your business and could maybe impact, to come up with pricing proposals which would aid your business, your sales, and also to drive those sales mix changes which will give you a better gross profit. So these are the things that are very, very important when you are a business partner, but it always starts with understanding your business very, very well. So I mean, OPEX, your operating expenses will take care of themselves if you have good controls in your system. But to understand the business and then try to drive those changes is very important, be it a new product launch or the existing sales.
Wonderful. Thank you. So you're also helping Johnson & Johnson understand the process. Is it timeline driven versus what you experienced in reporting?
So it's a little different. When you are in a reporting kind of a role, so you would have month-end reporting or quarterly reporting. So quarterly, be it any kind of reporting, it's always timeline driven. Say your closing is at say X date, so you have to report certain things at X plus 1 day, certain things at X plus 2 days, certain X plus 3. So it runs on to say X plus 10 days. So those 10 days when you have to do your reporting, those are very, very critical timelines, because those are your KPIs on which you are judged, or your ratings are dependent. KPIs mean your key performance indicators. So be in that timeline. It's a pressure situation for those 10 days. And that's when you may have to stretch a little more because it's timeline driven. When you come to a role like business partnering, when you need not do a reporting, the only stressful situation or a time when I would need to stretch probably is one when it's my sales closing and there are orders piled up due to they would need some kind of exceptions because of certain, situations that might have come. So I'll have to evaluate each price proposal, along with I'll have to also evaluate if the proposal or the order which is coming should go ahead or no. Those are times when it's a little pressure. And of course, when you have the business plans and the updates to be submitted, those are also time. So these are certain things which are timeline driven in a business partnering role versus a reporting role, which is every quarter fixed of timeline.
Okay, thank you so much. Do any of you, Palash or Saurabh, have any other views on it? Saurabh, I see you twitching.
Yes, so Kishori covered it well. Actually, when you are into financial reporting part, it is more like monthly close, quarterly close, year close. And when it comes to business or some specific like internal controls, then we have some quarterly reviews which we do, and that time there is pressure overall. So yes, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
So you've got your quarterly pressures. Everybody has some pressure of some kind, and Palash is on pressure all the time. Right? There are a couple of questions that are popping up in the chat box section. I just like to pick up one or two of them quickly as we are progressing in the conversation. There's Shlok who asks that what is the benefit of pursuing MBA after CA? Would someone like to go ahead and answer
So,
it?
so there is a very good webinar which is, I guess, scheduled after this, right? Can MBA after CA. So, answer to Palash will be attend that webinar. It will be very, it will answer all
Wonderful.
your queries.
All right. So next weekend we have a webinar on MBA after CA. Do watch and stay tuned with us. Thank you so much for that, Saurabh. Megha Baheti asks, how different would it have been if it wasn't for your excellent academics throughout? I'd like to redirect this to Palash Maheshwari. Palash?
Yeah. See, academic, what happens sometimes is, see, academics is not everything. Okay. Probably what you can say is you can get a ticket to enter into a train, but you will actually have to reach the station and get onto that train. So academics is just a ticket. Okay, you got it. It's a reserve ticket, I can say. Okay, or otherwise you will have to go into a general ticket and into a rush probably. So academics create only that much difference, but it does not mean that you cannot reach your destination. Okay, even if you are even if you are in a AC coach or if you are non-AC coach, you can always reach your destination through that train. So the only difference is between the struggle, or you can say hard work that you put in. Either you put in your academics or you will have to put in your work.
Okay, wonderful. I really like that example of academics being just a ticket, and you have to go through that struggle of reaching the station and also the journey. So the journey is the experience. Yeah. Mega asks CA plus CFA. What is your view on CA plus CFA considering the situation? Kishori, would you like to answer it?
Sure. So CFA is specific for so in accounting kind of roles. If you're planning to do something in accounting kind of roles, CFA is not going to be that much of a value add. But if you're doing something, say you are in investment banking, or you are in asset management, equity research analyst, these kind of roles where you have to evaluate stocks of a company, or very, very high businesses where you are evaluating credits or you are evaluating certain things, CFA does play a very important role. It adds to your knowledge, and definitely but it depends on what you really want to do. If you want to be in the core industry and do corporate kind of roles like we've discussed so far, doesn't necessarily require CFA. But you want to be in industries like asset management or private equities or investment banking, definitely CFA does add value to you. I would put it like that.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you so
adding
much.
to what Kishori said, just point, if you want to build a career in treasury, CFA can help you. So if you are planning to build a career in treasury in industry, then CFA can help you because it covers many concepts around which are used in treasury profile. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So CFA does help you to get into treasury profile if at all you wish to,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And could we also throw some light, Kishori, probably you could do that, on why a generalist role is important, and you could speak more about if there's a person who's not sure about where they wish to get into, which is the role that they could prefer and how could they really navigate forward?
So as a fresher, for like a slate, so whatever is written, you can get into molding. Like how you say that, when someone's young, they have a very good grasping power. So they have the bandwidth to, experiment. When you don't know certain, you will not know when you are. So if there goes a saying which says that there is no person more confused than a freshly qualified chartered accountant, because at times you don't know where to go and what to do. So the best thing would be to go for a role which is at the moment more appealing to you. Try it out for a year or two. You will get that feeling whether you like doing it or not. Because every day you have to do that. And if you feel that this is not something I want to do, you will get to know it because you would not want to do it. So if you wake up happily to go to work, and you like what you're doing, you will definitely be in that flow. But if you don't like it, there is always a choice to, make and shift. So it's always good to get started with something that's most appealing to you at the moment. If you feel that, this is something that's going to add value to you, this is a role where you're going to learn a lot, and that could be a base for something better to come. You should just go.
Okay, thank you so much for that. There's a question which says, Mishri Alji Jawar has asked a question. What is the benefit of pursuing law after graduation? I don't know the best person to redirect this to. Anyone who feels this is good to go between Saurabh and Palash, please take it up.
Yes. That in industry also there are legal departments, and legal department is primarily responsible for whenever we enter into agreement with any party. So whether that terms and condition in the agreement are as per Indian law are not unfavorable to the company. So this evaluation check is there, and this is done by legal department, and generally LLBs are hired for that. And with law, if the candidate does CS, they can get into CS role also. So that is complementary in industry.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Palash, could you help us understand how much articleship experience affects your job?
Okay, so yeah, articleship experience does affect your overall profile or your overall grooming. So I would like to share my articleship experience. Okay, so I started my articleship with KPMG and I worked in the GST department and all. So what I found there is I learned the very difficult corporate culture that I experienced there. Okay, so their working style, their perfection in their deliverables, what they are sending to the client, how should you represent to the client, how do you when you're working in a big organization, so you need to be work in teams, so how should you work in a team and all. So that is very important. How do you report to your manager? So these are all corporate etiquettes that you learn when you are working in any big four and like KPMG or any of the fours. So that is the most important learning. But in big fours, what happened is sometimes you face, you think that you are working only in a single department and all, and you are not getting exposed. So that is a issue which many articles face. So I also had the experience of working in a mid-sized firm in Bhopal. So what I did is then I worked in audit, I worked in income tax and all. So what benefit it gave me is now that I can link whenever I am giving any consultancy on GST also. So I would also think that what implication would it have on income tax also. Okay, so whenever I'm giving any consultancy for any income tax client, so I would think that this should not create a problem from the perspective of GST and all. So definitely, the more diverse, the more the more exposure that you will get in articleship, that really shapes you.
Okay. The better the exposure that you can get, probably it will help you understand more about yourself, the skills that you need to acquire to get into a specific profile, and it will also help to build you for future roles that you might take up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just want to add, since it will be your initial days of articleship, the expectation of the firm is not that much from you. So ask as many questions as you can. and you read as much as you can so that you can actually practically apply it and understand things more better. So that's what it is, and it will help you in your CA final studies also. So take it as an
Okay.
opportunity. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So because there is low pressure and low expectations, you can experiment around and you can really bring out your true potential. Um, can doing articleship from a small firm give Anjali a good job? That's our question. Kishori, would you like to take it up?
Absolutely. I mean, what job you're going to get into not necessarily always depends on a big firm or big four that you would have done an articleship from. When I started my articleship, my firm was a mid-sized firm, and I specifically chose a mid-sized firm because I was not sure what I would want to do in my post qualification era. So I thought that let me choose something which will give me an exposure of everything. So in my articleship, which was from a mid-sized firm, I could do tax audits, I could do stat audits, I could do for companies as small as proprietors, I could do for as big as a listed company. I could do for VAT audits, I could do, I mean, season-wise, there would be different audits that I would do. So I did touch upon internal audits also. So you get to do a lot of things in particularly a small kind of firm or a mid-sized firm, you can say so. And that definitely adds to your learning, because that's the time when you learn the most or you kind of grasp the most. And the more you work, the more you get used to it, and the more confidence you have in terms of practically implementing what you're actually learning in your CA curriculum. So your articleship experience to me is a very important factor in terms of being successful in your post qualification jobs. So being working from a small or a mid-sized firm, absolutely bang on. You are good to go. There's no harm. There are certain companies which would choose basis you've done your articleship from a big four or a small firm, but it definitely doesn't hinder or comes in your way in terms of getting a good job. Definitely. Saurabh or Palash, would you like to add anything on this?
Yes, Kishori, you were very right that it is not necessary that a Big Four article can get a good job. It is not necessary. But the only, since I am from Big Four, the only benefit which I feel is that there are companies, good companies, which prefer Big Four internship. So if you have not started your articleship and you want to work in industry in good companies, then you can prefer Big Four over mid-sized firm if you have that opportunity with you. Yes.
Yes, and I would like to add one more point here, that see, it's about you, that how much you learn. Okay, it's not about the size of the firm that we are talking about. You will, even if you are in a big firm, you will not be doing everything, and even if you are in a small
Right.
firm, it's not like you are not learning anything. So learning and how much you are getting input in yourself, so that completely depends on you, that how you behave, how much efforts you put in, how much you study, and then give good consultancy and good answers and all. So how do you find out some great points in audit and all? So that everything depends upon your efforts, and it does not have anything on the basis of what firm you are dealing with. And second thing I would like to point out, that you should never be underconfident because you have not worked in a big four, or you have not worked in a big firm, because many a times we feel that whenever CAs post qualification go for jobs and all, so whenever they see that someone is from a big four, and also they become underconfident that, oh, it is difficult to get job here, there are big four guys here and all. So absolutely there is nothing like that. If you have those right skill sets, if you have developed communication skills, soft skills yourself, then absolutely it does not matter that whether you are from a big firm or you are from a small or mid-sized firm.
Right, Palash. In addition to what you have mentioned, so once you get a call for interview, that means you are at par with Big Four firms. So they will not differentiate now. So till the time you are not getting call for interview, there can be chances. But once you got a call for interview, then everyone is at par. Now you have to perform good at interview. So that you should keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the questions that also have in mind, and a lot of people do keep asking, is are there any other skill sets that can be acquired while you are applying for job roles? And we did discuss a couple of them that I'd like to add is, if you get a chance to learn advanced Excel, maybe Power Pickups, it's a good one. Go for Excel macros. People love, like industry will love people who are technically very sound, would know tools like Alteryx, Tableau. There are so many tools in the market which help you do your job better in terms of technical skills. So if you get an opportunity to learn something like that, just go ahead.
And that differentiates between an average performer and a good performer, because
Yeah.
when you learn those skills, when you have those skills, you can easily complete your work well within time, and then there's no question of work-life balance. You can manage both with that. So that is the importance of having good skills.
Right. And one more thing which is going on within industry is finance transformation. Now, what is finance transformation? Using technology to make finance work easy is what is going on. So like using machine learning, artificial intelligence in our day-to-day finance work. So if you can get such kind of skills, then there are very good opportunities which are there in future for you. So that is one thing you can look into.
Sorry, I had been dropped off. Technical issues. I'm back, and I'm just trusting that we manage the show and get the discussion flowing. Thank you so much for that. Something that I'd like to ask, and it was a question from Manajji. Could someone of you please state a struggle that you faced and share how you overcame that struggle?
I'd like to go. So
Yeah.
yeah. So when you start as a fresher, what you want to do is you want to learn everything, and you want to work a lot, stretch a lot, and you want that your work is being recognized, and you want to feel that what you're doing is kind of helping the company gain something. So when I was starting my role, I didn't have a lot of work to do because the project that I was working on had been stalled for a little while, and I was just shadowing somebody else's work. So it didn't give me that kind of satisfaction in terms of why should I get paid when I'm just shadowing somebody else's work. So that's the kind of thing that I faced, and it was early in my career, and I wanted to learn. And that's the time when you can stretch a lot, when you can learn most of your skills. So I didn't want to waste my time by not working on maybe just shadowing someone. So I started for looking for opportunities outside. And one thing that I learned at that point in time, which is also working for me today, is you should always be prepared to get a new opportunity. Uh, I mean, even if you are not wanting to apply for a role, keep your CVs updated every single year. Maybe twice a year if you want to update it, update it. But do that because it gives you that power. Because once you are in a certain kind of role, you get that you get that comfort zone. So you need to get out of your comfort zone, make your series and try to see what you are actually worth in the market. Otherwise you will keep feeling that I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that. But try to see once in a while by making your series and trying to see whether you're worth something. So that was a struggle I faced at that point in time, and I started looking out. And when I started looking at, I realized that it's not easy. Though you are a ranker, though you are, you have had good number of grades all the time, it's not necessary that that's the only thing that's enough. What's important is how can you culminate what you learn into practicalities, and that's what any interviewer would like to see. And that's where I struggled a little. But towards the end, I did end up getting a new job and being happy in it. But that was a struggle that I initially faced.
So in addition to what Kishori already mentioned, The struggle can be when you switch from one company to other, then there is a change in culture, and adapting to that culture is can be one of the struggle that you can think. Then struggle is when you are changing one profile to another, then learning the details of that profile is one thing which is there. So yes, so there are multiple struggles once you get job into industry also. So it is not like getting a job is one thing, then changing role, changing company, every time there is a struggle, but you can take it as a learning and opportunity to learn new things from that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Would Palash like to add anything to that? Any struggle that you've been through?
Hello. Yeah. So see,
Palash?
yeah, I don't have any specific story to say about struggle, but I would like to point here is, see, struggle is every day. Every day, if you're not struggling with your work, in the sense that if you're doing some work for 1 hour, okay, if you're not struggling to complete it within a half an hour and create value yourself, then you're not performing. So you should always be ready for those kind of challenging roles. You should always be ready for dealing with those kind of difficult situations when you need to perform much better. Today you are having or working at a time at 5 projects. Tomorrow you should be prepared for working at a time for 10 projects. So that is also a struggle. So struggle is a part and parcel of corporate life, that I can say. So struggles can be of different, but you should put yourself in these challenging circumstances always and test yourself.
All right. Wonderful. Any final concluding words that you might have?
Yeah. So
Any
my
advice for
only
the aspiring CA students?
yes, the my only advice for CA students who are going to start their articleship is that enjoy this articleship period, learn as much as you can, and for those who are fresher is that uh, understand what is going on in the market, decide your next job keeping long-term view in mind. If you want to become CFO, then what all skill sets you need in right now, and or take long-term decisions, take long-term consideration into your current decision. So that's what is advice from me. Yeah.
Something that I would like to
Kishori?
say, yeah, I would like to echo what Saurabh said, that it always starts with a long-term goal. So, though you have a long-term goal, make those short-term goals for yourself. That what is it that you want to achieve in this particular year, and go after it. Most important is to enjoy the journey and to learn on each step that you're going. Even if you are in a role that maybe you're not liking that much, you're definitely going to come out of it. But while you are in that role, try to learn as much as you can so that you can add value in whichever next role you do. Because it's a circle. Whatever you will learn will definitely be, coming of use in any other role. So learn as you go, make those short-term goals, and more importantly, just enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy what you're doing, you will be able to get through anything.
Right. And Palash, over to you.
Yeah.
Final
So
concluding remarks?
my final concluding remarks would be, I think, 3 points. The first one is already discussed, that keep learning. So you need to keep learning at every level, at every each day you should keep learning. Second will be honest to your work. Okay. So whatever you are doing, please give your 100% to that work and be honest to whatever you are working for, or for whatever you are working into. And third is that be enthusiastic about your work. Okay, never feel bored, because most of your lifetime you will be spending at your workplace or doing some work for your office and all. So always do that work, choose that field which all keeps you enthusiastic throughout your life, and yes, in which you can create value for the society at large. That's from my side.
Right. Thank you so much. Nikhil Maheshwari has a very specific question to Kishori Bharadia. Kishori, if you could just read it through it. In meantime, I will request Saurabh Jawar. Manak ji is requesting that there be any specific example of a struggle that you might have faced. So if you could take that up. And Palash, final question for you would be, with so many quick changes in regulations and job pressure, how do you keep yourself updated?
Okay, to answer Manavji question, so my specific struggle that I faced is that I am from Burhanpur, a small town, and then I moved to Pune for my studies. And there was a totally different difference in the culture, how we used to study in this small town and what all things are there. I was like comparing myself to peers, and I was like feeling a bit inferior within myself, that I am not as they are. Or but I worked on it. I instead of spending like 10 hours, I spent 14 hours to study and get results out of it. Once I started getting results, then opportunity also came, and eventually confidence got built up. So that's what the struggle I faced is that in my life, I would say, and I took it positively, and eventually it is paying me with good rewards.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So the question from Nikunj Maheshwari, I think I'm not sure whether I've understood the question very well. He wants to say that, I'm currently pursuing CA course. My future objective is to start an API industry. API is the active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is what is the main ingredient that goes in a particular medicine. So he doesn't have knowledge about the particular sector and how medicine industry works. So how is that I can get an exposure? I guess I think specialized studies regarding APIs and how the pharmaceutical industry works, and maybe you would want to, before starting your own venture, you would want to work for a pharmaceutical company, be it a large company or a small company, where you can get to learn how APIs work, and because it's a little complicated. Pharmaceuticals is a very complicated industry as compared to any other industry. So you would want to first learn about it and have your first-hand experience in a certain industry where you can work for a little while before you kind of open your own venture. That would be my advice to you.
In addition to what
Yes, Palash.
Kishori said, just want to add one point. So Nikunj, it is not necessary everything and every understanding you should have it. You can build good partners, or you can hire good employees who can work for you, who have expertise in that field, and you can take benefit out of that. So that is also one point you can consider.
Okay. So yeah,
Right.
Jajuji has asked
Palash,
a question.
would you like to take up?
Yeah, I'm taking. Yeah, so Jajuji has asked the question that how, with so many quick changes in regulations and job pressure, how do you keep yourself updated? Okay, so my answer to this is firstly is the time management. That is really, really important, that you manage your time well. Second thing is you need, as long as you are enjoying your work, you should not feel that the job pressure is there, because see, suppose you are dancing, so you do not feel job pressure, no, that you are asking, you do not feel pressure that you are asking me continuously to dance. Why? Because you like dancing. So as far as you are liking your work, you should not feel that there is some kind of job pressure. And third thing I would here to what PM Modi keeps on saying, that आप थकते शरीर से नहीं हैं, आप थकते हैं जब आप अपने दिमाग से सोचते हैं कि मैं थक गया हूँ. So once you think that no, fine, you are mentally strong, you are mentally enjoying the work, and you are enthusiastic about your work, there is no way you can feel job pressure or any kind of discomfort in your work.
I really like the choice of words that you have, Palash, when you express something. And now that we have concluded about this webinar, I'd like to invite Jayji Bhutada to take over and please present the vote of thanks. Before he takes over, I'd just like to thank MVPM office, Archana Madam, Sonone Sir, who've been really helpful in helping us reach out to the participants in a very short time frame. Yeah, over to you, Vijay.
Thank you very much, Vinayji. Here comes a difficult task at the end of session. I think Palash, Kishori and Saurabh have covered almost everything, and probably I may not have much to add, but I would certainly make an attempt to add something as my closing remarks. So what Palash and Kishori have already discussed is on, choosing pay versus exposure, what kind of exposure you get during your jobs they have described. Switching roles within or outside the organization will certainly help you in getting better exposure is what they have spoken about. Work pressure, what do you mean by work pressure, and in what kind of roles it is there. In my view, it is going to be there in all kind of roles if you feel it, otherwise not. What is the impact of articleship and how it helps you in getting a better job, whether in big four, mid-sized firm articleship, all of that they have discussed, right? And I think the participants must have got some good insights on that. I would want to add some 5-6 points which an aspiring chartered accountant or a budding student should keep in mind. It is applicable equally to both. First of all, try and find out what is your passion, what you like doing most within your, either as a chartered accountant, or if not as a chartered accountant, if you want to do something else, then please do that as something else. Because if you're choosing something which you don't like, you're not going to enjoy it for a long time, right? So it is very, very important. I can give you all my personal example that during my articleship, I learned some good work on taxation and I started liking it somehow, right? And my thought process was that I want to be a good tax consultant, a tax advisor. Okay. So after my articleship, after I cleared my CA, I joined a firm which was, into management consulting, internal audits, and then there was some bit of taxation, by the way. But then I was very, very fascinated about, the firm, the kind of work they were doing. It was not a routine tax audit and returns assessment. That was not the work they were doing, but I was really, attracted the kind of work, the CA described us. Okay. So I decided to join that. And during the tax season, I worked very hard. I did all the work and I was appreciated by the partner, right? And because tax was always my passion, right? So I did a fantastic job there. I learned some good things. During my articleship, never did transfer pricing work. So I did that there. And despite, it being, new to me, I enjoyed it a lot. I learned everything and I kind of applied in the client situation. Now here comes a catch. After the tax season was over, okay, there was no much tax work left. And then I was asked to do internal audits. Okay. Now, when I started doing audits, I can freely admit here, honestly admit here that I absolutely did a very bad job. Okay. And I was eligible to be sacked from the firm for that work. I mean, the kind of work I did in the internal audit regime. But I mean, somehow I could not, that time understand why I could not do a good work on the internal audit. When I was doing good work on the tax side, why not on the internal audit side? But somehow I couldn't, right? And then slowly I realized that this is not cup of my tea. Maybe I will not enjoy this. I should focus on the tax. And then I left the organization, or you can say partly I was sacked also. Okay. So it was mutual. The partner said, okay, you go on leave. Whenever you want to come back, you talk to me. I was going on a wedding leave. Okay. So we talked about it and he said, okay, you go on the leave and once you are back, we'll decide what to do. And I obviously never went back there because I never wanted to do the internal audits. And I kept searching for myself what I can do best. And then finally I landed up, getting a job in one of the biggest tax firms in India, which is Ratan S. Mama, RSM. And from there onwards, I enjoyed my tax to the core. And here I am today doing some of the finest work in M&A advisory space. So that's how, your passion must be there for anything you want to do. So please, as soon as possible, try and understand your passion. Okay. So that is the first and most important advice I would like to give the students and chartered accountants. Second, always daily ask yourself when you are, whether you are doing articleship or you're doing a job, every day ask yourself at the end of the day whether you learned something new today. That will give you a lot of learning. Even if we assume 280 days of work in a year, if you learn one new thing every day, in a year you will learn a lot of things. So that is very, very important again. Then there was some discussion going on the articleship in a big firm, small firm, working in a large company, small company. I from my personal experience, I would certainly want to tell you that at some point of time in your career, and sooner the better, you must work in a large company or a large firm or a large organization, because then you will understand what are the things and what kind of clients and what kind of business is being done.
Vijayji, I would like to request you that we should wrap up this session and conclude. So
yeah, I'll not
would you
take
like to
more than
please-
2 minutes now.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
present your vote of thanks and we can conclude. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So so that is one thing, that you must sometimes work in a large firm because that will give you a good exposure in terms of overall things. And then yes, obviously go to a mid-sized firm or start your own business. With those learnings, you will do much better job. Always have a grit of doing something, an obsessive compulsive passion for learning. That will help us to enjoy your work. And last but not the least, do communicate effectively, do learn, do improve your communication as soon as possible. You use ways and means to do that. And communication is not just English, right? Communication is ability of telling what you want to tell, ability to convey things which you want to tell. So with this, I would like to give closing with these closing remarks. I would like to thank Vrajendra ji, Atul ji, the entire MVPM team, Nilay ji, Vinay, and our three speakers, Palash, Saurabh, and Kishori, for sharing their insights. It was a wonderful session, and I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for such wonderful advice, Vijayji. It has been well placed. It's just the timing of it came, in a place. I would also like to thank Mahendraji Jaju because he's also extended his time and support in making this possible. And I would like to thank, like I mentioned, MVPM office, Just Jaju. He's been helping us with technical outreach. And I would also like to thank Manavji for maintaining his presence throughout this meeting along with Atul Bhau. So with that, I'd just like to reiterate that we've got an exciting webinar coming up next weekend. I would want all of you all to please make time for it and register. It will be the same process. It will arrive at your email and you can join through a unique Zoom link. We will shortly be sending out the poster and the registration link. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time. You have been a great audience. Thank you for your patience and time. I would now request all of you to please proceed with your day. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day and a great weekend ahead. Bye.
Thank you, Vinay ji. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay.